Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Bar podcast. I am your host, Denisa Tova. So, in this podcast, I sit down with extraordinary legal professionals to uncover the person behind the suit, the legal title, because, legal professionals, they carry so much emotional burden of their clients. And it's a side of them that gets often overlooked. So my goal is to humanize this profession and to create a space where lawyers and judges, they can see each other as more than courtroom opponents. And it's really so a place to be vulnerable, to be real, and to really have some great and truly heartfelt conversations. And so today's guest is someone who defies the typical lawyer stereotype and proves that you can be a legal powerhouse and still hold on to your true self. And I am absolutely delighted to introduce you to Jenifer Foley. Jenifer is a founding partner at Alter Wolff Foley and Stutman. She's also the co-president of the New York chapter of the Association of Family and Conciliation Courts. It is a truly wonderful organization that brings together attorneys, judges, mental health professionals, and all with a focus on child-centered solutions. So, Jenifer, welcome.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you. We have so much to talk about, and I really couldn't be more thrilled to have you on Beyond the Bar. You describe yourself, and I love this, as a soulful mind seeker. And I know we have that in common. We've had many very interesting conversations, and that isn't really what most people think of when they hear divorce attorney. And you said we know we cannot change others, we can only change our reaction to others. And I think that's such a hard practice in this field. Can you share a defining moment or experience that sort of led you toward blending mindfulness and spirituality with your law practice, if I can phrase it that way?
Well, you phrased it perfectly. I think I've always had that kind of level of how do I not lose myself in my clients' really crises, right? Because that's when they're coming to us. I always joke that the people who are having amicable divorces don't hire, lawyers or lawyers that do this kind of work. And I've always tried to give them a sense of what else do you have? Who's your team? Do you have, are you religious? Do you have a therapist? Do you have a group of friends? What are you going to do to help you get through this? And I think as I got older and did this longer, I realized I need that same help. Like, what do I do that helps me do this job? Therapists, psychiatrists, they are trained in keeping a distance, right? In helping others, but not bringing it home. And so the defining moment, which was your question for me, was more recent. I went on a retreat in early January of this year, a mindfulness retreat in Arizona, where all good mindfulness retreats are. And it was really life changing for me, and in terms of how I have integrated meditation, taking care of my own life, my body, my soul, my and how that has helped me give my clients, a little bit more information about things that they can do to help them through their situations. And I think for some people that's much more what's the word, palatable than, do you have a therapist? Let's get you into therapy, because therapy is not always for everybody. So for me, the defining, like, pivotal, most recent is in when I changed in January, and I kind of changed my whole approach, and I really started to focus on I I can't take care of my clients if I don't take care of myself first.
And I think that is so important, and it's really not. It's selfless, despite what many people think. Right? We do have to. I mean, I think you do a disjustice, to people, your family, yourself, your clients, if you do not take care of yourself. I think we've had interesting conversations about, when you are dealing with an emotionally charged client, or it could be an employee, it could be it could be anybody, and you just sort of feeling yourself that it's hitting your stuff, right? Like,
Right.
you're finding yourself flooded with energy is and you can't exactly sit down on your mat, and start practicing meditation in that moment. What do you have a sort of a go-to place in your mind when this is happening? Is there a mantra? Is that, are you trying to relax? What is it that helps you sort of center yourself?
Love guided meditations, and there's a bunch of the apps. I use Insight Timer, which I just think it has a wonderful array of searchability. So, for example, I have found myself 5 minutes before going into a court, just sitting in the hallway and maybe listening on my earphones and just closing my eyes for 5 minutes to like bring it back to centering, calmness. How am I going to convey my message in a way that is both advocating, and passionate, because I think that's important for lawyers, and also very sort of mindful of the fact that a lot of screaming back and forth isn't going to get us anywhere. Before a meeting, before I meet with a client, I really kind of put it into my day. I don't have a lot of here's an hour to meditate. I have more, let me do 10 minutes before work starts, or, have my cup of coffee, sit down, meditate in my chair in my office for 10 minutes. I have found that it's a huge, between that and listening to the podcast that I know you and I love, um, and listening to these people who are a lot wiser and who have been doing this a lot longer than I have. It was funny when you were talking, reminded me of, I know we both raised kids, right? So when we were young mothers and trying to do everything, there was sort of that same message, which is if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to, be able to take care of your kids. And I think that's particularly true for women. I think women, we think we can do it all. And, we can't. We can't, not at some cost. So I have found that I can bring in a 2 minute meditation, or I can sit for half an hour. I find going before I go to bed, that's a really great time for me, because I feel like it makes me sleep better, and it helps me wake up with a much more positive, grateful attitude. I do a lot of gratitude meditation, focusing on the things that are really positive in my life, and I think that just changes my whole day.
You're right. As women, it's almost like a status symbol, right? Being this multitasker, I can do it all. I
Mhm.
can maintain competitive edge, and be an entrepreneur. I can be a leader, and a mother, and a spouse, a partner, a friend. We can do it all, but at what expense?
It really is a tough role to be sort of be supportive, but at the same time be very focused on the kids and try not to be. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about keeping things calm. And I use the line all the time, like these people are going to be in their lives until they're gone, right? Until they're passed. Like, I share grandchildren with my husband's ex-wife. Like, that's a wonderful thing, right? That should be a wonderful thing. These kids are lucky enough they have two grandmas, and then grandma's on the other side. But I, it goes back to the meditation and the gratitude, and the way to go through life, instead of thinking about how negative it is. It's not what I wanted. It's not what I pictured. This isn't what the life. It's I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful that I can do this. I'm grateful that these kids have a family of people who love them. And if you can find that path, I think it makes even difficult situations so much better. Um, but you have to get out of your own way.
Yeah. That is brilliantly said. Getting out of your own way, not expecting anything. Like, move out of the way. It doesn't matter,
Right,
right? I mean, you shouldn't be
right.
dependent on what somebody says or does. It just they are, you are, that's the end of it. Expect nothing. I think Buddha said that what is it? The gist of all suffering, basically, it's like it's desire, it's right, it's we have expectation, and so don't
Expectations.
have any expectation, just enjoy being. So
Right.
that's, wow, we could just sit here and talk forever. I love that. All right, so now you wear we're talking about multitasking, but you still wear many hats, one of them being a co-president of the
Mm.
AFCC organization. So how has this role broadened your perspective on really the village it takes to navigate today's intricate family setups?
Oh, Denisa, we don't have enough time. Um, the I've been involved in AFCC for a long time, so my being president doesn't, it's really much more about in terms of trying to figure out what programs we want to put on, what our focus is going to be, my co-president and I, for the next 2 years. But it's an organization. There's no other organization like this where it's an interdisciplinary place where lawyers can learn about the mental health aspect of these things, these conflicts, and the damage that these high conflict cases can have on children, the research that talks about attachment, and when should children have overnights, when should children move to a 50-50. We have a world now where everybody wants 50-50 parenting time. And for me, it's just an incredible source of information and individuals who I can pick up the phone and call about a particular problem, or to get referrals for therapists or family therapists, and it's all people who are dealing in the family arena. And I think that anybody who is doing the work that we're doing in custody should be required to be at least having this information, having access to this information. Um, there are sort of lots of models and risk models in terms of what we do for children. And if you're dealing with a lawyer on the other side who has not even read the research, how am I supposed to talk to somebody or negotiate with somebody? Or unfortunately, if there's a judge or an attorney for the child who isn't up on the latest research, then how are we having, we're talking about two different things, right? We're cross talking, as opposed to saying, hey, here's what the research says. Here's a 2 year old. Maybe a 2 year old shouldn't be having 50-50 back and forth. That's not necessarily healthy for a 2 year old. Or maybe it is in this particular case. But here we have this organization that is national, international, actually, of people who care about this stuff and are putting programs on and are doing research and presenting their research. As a lawyer, I find it incredibly valuable. And I think for the other side, the mental health side of things, they find it valuable because the people that are working on it from the mental health side in this don't really know what happens in court. I've had therapists say to me, "Well, just tell the judge." Da 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 da. Da. I'm like, that's not how it works. I can't just walk in and tell the judge that you said this. So I think it helps them understand the limitations of what a lawyer can do in and out of the court.
I love your passion for this. This is really important because we're dealing with our children and decisions that will impact the rest of their lives. So that is truly wonderful. Um,
Thank
I have a little rapid fire wisdom round here, kind of like a speed
you.
dating without the dating part. So, what's the one thing that you wish you could change about public perception about divorce attorneys?
Oh, we're not all out for your money. But this isn't, if I wanted to make a lot of money, I would have done something else. I think there's a
I love that.
perception there's a perception that that's what lawyers are doing. It's all about making money and winning. And I think that there are a lot of us out there who actually care, particularly about the kids. And that is where my love is, right? That is why I do what I do, for the most part, is to help families. And even in regular divorces, well, regular divorce, even a divorce where there's not a custody dispute, this is somebody you love, someone you married, someone you had an economic partnership with. And so I feel like, don't give up. Keep looking for a lawyer who matches your uh, personality. I think that's important.
And that is that you hit a nail on the head, is that there may be a perception, which is what I'm trying to break these stereotypes. And really the perception is, and again, it's bringing your personal stuff into it, your experiences. And I think this is important to recognize that legal professionals really are human beings, and many of them really, really, really care, and they put themselves, just like yourself, you sort of pour yourself right into it. You really, do this with passion. On a lighter note, What shows are you hooked on?
I'm not much of a TV watcher. I think I just saw the Barbie movie. That was the first screen show I've watched in a long time. Watch a lot of sports, Yankees, Jets, Mets.
Oh,
We are a sports family, so there's usually a game on our TV. Um,
yeah, the season's starting, so that's exciting. I know it's a lot of excitement in our family too. And so lastly, if on a lighter note, and I know we can laugh. We can talk and laugh. What's something that made you laugh out really loud recently?
oh my goodness. Um, Laugh out loud. Probably something inappropriate. probably
That's honest.
Probably some inappropriate joke that my husband told, and I just laughed out loud.
That is great. That is great.
Uh,
Listen, this is great. Jenifer, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show. You will be back. And
uh,
really thank you for sharing your incredible insights and really sharing part of yourself. It really takes a lot of courage to do that. And let me tell you, people are watching, they are listening, and so I'm really thrilled and thankful that you were able to do it. You truly are an inspiration. And to our listeners and viewers, you can check us out on YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss any of the great episodes. And I'll be posting more about Jenifer in the description below and her bio. And for now, I'm Denisa Tova, your host for Beyond the Bar.